My name is Dan Mack, owner of Millennium Telecom and a current resident of Lebanon, Tennessee, located in Wilson County just 20 miles east of downtown Nashville. My arrival to Tennessee as a child occurred in a much simpler, less complicated time that we all cherish when life moved at a much slower pace. It was when our interstate transportation system was still young, before Interstate I-65 was in place, and in a time when the need for multimodal transportation was not a topic for concern. Having spent most of my past 45 years of my 57 years living and working in Middle Tennessee, the one constant has always been change, to use a well-worn phrase. Change, however, has never been more obvious than the economic growth we've been experiencing in Middle Tennessee in the past 3 to 5 years. Nashville is among the most stable economies at the time of the 2008 national economic downturn and continues to be one of the most resilient economies since then. Middle Tennessee is known nationally as a place where new job creation is unprecedented, where home values and general cost of living is very low, but where quality of life is very high. A great place to live right now. Population growth has been forecasted to increase by 1.2 to 1.5 million by 2040, basically doubling our population in Middle Tennessee in the next 25 years. If you live here, you can already feel the urgent need to develop solutions to the daily congestion we feel and greatly increased travel times required to get to and from work in order to enjoy our lives and sustain our incredible way of life. And unfortunately, one of the most notable realities we face is the inadequate transportation system we have in place and how far behind we are other cities who face similar transportation challenges moving forward. Among the top 320 economic zones in the nation, we rank in the bottom 10 in providing adequate transportation options for our growing population. We know that we need to develop a variety of transportation options that are affordable, convenient, and safe in order to continue our quality of life, and that we must embrace new ideas regarding personal travel for work and recreation. And to achieve these goals, we know that increased funding for transportation is critical to our success. We also know that the fact that we have no state income tax is one of the key elements to our sustained growth and to our overall low cost of living. We want to keep it this way, and we do not want a state income tax. We also know that all types of available transportation only generate 40% of the cost from user fees derived by those using that method of transportation. We also know that $6 billion of existing public transportation projects in Middle Tennessee remain unfunded and are currently on hold. Tennessee is one of the few states that has created absolutely no public debt to fund their transportation system it so desperately needs, despite the fact that the cost of money is at historic lows. Tennessee has also not had an increase in its per-gallon gas tax since 1989, almost 26 years, despite the fact that every survey available also indicates that 65% or more respondents would approve an increase in the per-gallon tax gas that we pay at the gas pump. It is the obvious need for transportation solutions and public advocacy required to achieve obvious reforms like these that compelled me to take part in the Transit Citizen Leadership Academy. Together, we need to find solutions for the transportation challenges we face. Our Transit Alliance and the advocacy for change that we can provide is an integral part of this process. Without effective funding solutions to the transportation challenges we face, Middle Tennessee will soon find themselves in a traffic jam straight ahead.
I am Barbara Wolke, Rutherford County Convention and Visitors Bureau Vice President. I am from Nashville. I moved to North Rutherford County in 1982. My family and I purchased 25 acres in the country to enjoy Percy Priest Lake and country living. At that time, I was employed in Nashville and had to commute to Nashville and spend 1.5 hours round trip every day in my automobile, which was approximately 280 hours per year. In 1995, I decided to accept a position in Brentwood and thought the drive to Brentwood, Tennessee would be less congested. Traffic congestion had increased. I spent more time in the car than ever before, at approximately 450 hours per year sitting in traffic. I also had additional cost for gas, car maintenance, and extended child care. The most important, the thousands of hours sitting in traffic and time away from my family. In 2003, again, I made a change to avoid the traffic congestion. I have been employed at the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce, located in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, for 12 years. Taking 840 is an easy drive to work. I have received 240 hours per year of my life back and quality time with my family. When you do the math, over the last 12 years, that is 2,880 hours, 17 weeks, or 120 days of quality time with my family. People are making decisions on where to live, work, and play based on these numbers. With the population in our region expected to increase to 3.1 million people by 2040, traffic congestion is only going to get worse. The fact is, we need a good transit system in Tennessee to maintain and improve our quality of life. Transit is not just about transit. Transit is about the quality of life. From point A to point B, we need you to take notice that a transit solution is needed in Tennessee.
My name is Gini Pupo-Walker, and I live near Vanderbilt University in an area many consider to be the inner core of Nashville. My husband and I decided to buy a house near Vanderbilt so that he could bike to work and we could walk to the many amenities that we find in our neighborhood. My children go to public schools and learn to ride the MTA bus home by the time they were 12 years old. We are lucky that we have so many options for getting where we need to go, and I'm fortunate to have a short commute home. However, I work every day with families who rely exclusively on public transportation to get to work, the doctor, or the grocery. If we are able to improve transit options for them, they could perhaps take a better job, further their education, attend their child's events at school, or have more time for family, service, or recreation. Ease of movement and increased access to transit will have a tremendous benefit for our entire community, lifting families and increasing opportunity. I honestly believe that for all Tennesseans to reap the benefits of a thriving and prosperous region, everyone must have access to safe, easy-to-use transit options. I fully support increasing gas taxes in order to invest in our communities and our own possibilities. Increasing opportunity through innovative transit solutions is the key to Tennessee's future as a vibrant and prosperous community.
I'm Brandi, Ghergia, and I'm a senior manager in the Community Impact Department at United Way of Metropolitan Nashville. My husband and I have raised our children in rural Cheatham County for the last 19 years. I love knowing I can sit outside at night, see the stars, and listen to tree frogs calling to one another. I love that my children have grown up in a place where they could climb trees, see cattle grazing, and know their neighbors. In Cheatham County, TDOT is planning a multi-million-dollar project that will make Highway 49 from Pleasant View to Ashland City safer by widening the road, adding turning lanes, and improving visibility. This project and many others like it across Tennessee are being threatened by a lack of funding. In fact, TDOT has $6 billion in unfunded transportation projects. Our current gas tax of 21 cents per gallon isn't enough to allow us to maintain our roads, much less improve them or build new roads. I'm paying about $210 per year in gas taxes. Increasing the gas tax 7 cents per gallon would cost me just $70 more per year, fewer than $6 per month. I want safer roads for my family and yours. I hope you'll join me in supporting an increase in the gas tax. With our support, transit can work for all of us in Tennessee.
I'm Charlie Smith. I'm an engineer, a planner, and a vice president with Barge Wagner Sumner & Cannon in downtown Nashville. I've worked on transportation, infrastructure, and economic development projects around the country for the last 20 years. When my family came to Middle Tennessee in 2007, I spent several months working and driving around the area before we decided where to live. We chose Wilson County for a number of reasons. Importantly, among them was what I saw regarding traffic and commute times into the future. My family wants to be in a neighborhood near forests, lakes, and open space. We want good schools, low taxes, and our own backyard, but I don't want to sit in traffic every day. Depending on when I leave the house and how well my fellow drivers and I safely manage the streets that day, my 15-mile commute is anywhere from 35 minutes to about an hour and 20 minutes or more. I often need transportation during the workday for meetings all over the area. I have no interest in riding our current bus routes because they take longer to navigate the same traffic that the cars are in. But I do ride the Music City Star when I can. It takes just over 30 minutes, lands me less than 2 blocks from my office. I love it. I love it so much that we will remain in Wilson County so that I can continue to have that option. I can see that it will be even more important to me in the years to come. Unless the Nashville area experiences a drastic economic downturn, roadway congestion is not going to improve, period. One real way to contribute to a down regional economy is to fail to provide realistic options for people to get around. That means a well-executed system of sidewalks, bike lanes, bus lanes, pedestrian bridges, roadway and intersection improvements, smart signal timing, trains, and maybe some other things that technology will deliver in the future. And oh yeah, funding. In spite of my dislike of paying taxes for what I feel are many questionable expenditures, I do understand how critical a complete and functional transportation system is to our quality of life, and how intimately that is tied to the economic well-being of everyone in the state. I am willing to pay more for good transportation, and in this case, for the comprehensive transit we need now and will desperately need in the future. Sit in your car if you want to. I'm riding the train.
My name is David Plazas, Opinion Engagement Editor at the Tennessean, and I've lived in Nashville for a year, having moved from Florida for a job promotion. A company executive told me about the vital signs report on the Middle Tennessee region the day of my interview in October 2014. I learned that 1.2 million people were expected to move into the area in the next 20 years. Driving into downtown after that, I gathered that the present infrastructure, if not addressed, would fail to sustain that growth. Ever since that time, I decided that I would make transit and transportation issues among my top priorities as an opinion journalist when I moved to Nashville. I live near downtown Nashville, and I'm a very recent homeowner, having purposely chosen to live very close to work, 2.2 miles to be exact, to avoid having a long commute to the office. Although when I have to go off-site, I have been stuck in I-65, I-24, and I-40 traffic, and I sympathize with those whose commute is a bear daily. I started riding the public bus during Thanksgiving week 2014 and decided to ride or take multimodal transportation, rideshare, walking, etc., weekly to be able to gain the experience and credibility to write about this topic. It reminds me of growing up in Chicago, taking the bus and the L daily to get to school and around town. What I've learned this past year is that a more frequent and effective transit system are essential to helping this region grow and thrive. The challenges of having $8 billion in unfunded road and infrastructure projects, commutes that continue to get worse, and seeing the region grow by 5,000 people a month requires a better solution, or our quality of life suffers. Good transit leads to more options, which means less time on the road and more time doing something you'd rather be doing than being stuck in a car.